Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Jomo here, bringing you a Barclays Premier League 2013-2014 season review. And as you can see, the game being viewed is Sunderland versus Swansea, which was one of the 10 fixtures played on the last day of the season. And Sunderland are being my main talking point in this video because they managed to survive the drop quite well, being down the bottom at Christmas. I've got the league table here on my phone, and I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. Well, basically, I'll just start with Sunderland, really. They were bottom at Christmas, I think, roughly. And their revival to try and avoid the drop this season started with a draw against Manchester City away. And they picked up from there because they went to Chelsea 1-2-1, and then they managed to really pick themselves up from there, really, despite losing to Swansea 3-1 on the last day of the season. I'm just going to skip that. There we go. I was happy for Sunderland that they're back in the Premier League, but that they're still there. You know, they lost this game to Swansea 3-1 on the day, but I was very impressed with their survival hopes from the league, which is very impressive. And it all started with 4 massive points against Manchester City and Chelsea, both games which were away. 2 tough games. So we're going to drop to the bottom of the league now. Cardiff, who finished 20th. I always when they obviously had Malcolm Mackay as manager at the beginning, and then he got sacked. And to be honest, they went on a really bad something. I could have saw them going down. They did the games they won. I mean, they beat Manchester City, I think 3-2. I think that was at Cardiff. So they picked up some decent points, but they picked up points against key teams that they had to beat. Fulham, well, what can we say there? They had Martin Yole. They then had Rennie Mullenstein, and now they've got Phoenix McGat. They unfortunately, I mean, they changed their manager twice, which was. It was expected to. It's sad knowing that Fulham's run in the Premier League's been over after, I think it's 13 years, something like that. And I'm thinking about doing a career mode on FIFA 15, maybe, about trying to get back up to the Premier League. They all went down, and then there's Norwich. Well, to be honest, going Banner, it's sort of a late talking point, but Chris Hughton's sacking 5 games from the end, not particularly ideal. They could have waited to the end of the season, because though their last 5 games were Fulham, Arsenal and Chelsea were in there. They had Fulham, and then the last 4 games were against sort of like the top 4 of the top 6 sides in the league, if you like. Arsenal and Norwich, Arsenal and Chelsea included. They played very well against Chelsea, actually. Got a nice little draw there. Then they lost 2-0 at home to Arsenal on the last day. West Brom and Hull, you know, they had respectable seasons. To be fair, West Brom, they obviously had Steve Clarke. They obviously sacked Steve Clarke in December, I think. Right decision really. They've now got Pepe Mel, and Pepe Mel, he's done an okay job. Not brilliant, but not you know. So Hull, I've been very impressed with Hull, especially after the season they had, especially going into the FA Cup final, and played very well indeed on Saturday as well. Absolutely brilliant. I've been very impressed with Hull this season. Aston Villa, again, they've done all right this season. Apparently, I think there are talks of them getting a takeover. I think I'm not entirely sure on that. But then again, they've had a decent season, picking up some points where they needed it as well. Sunderland, I've already spoke about. They finished. They survived really well. Again, West Ham. Have a very decent season as well, despite finishing the bottom half. Swansea, despite West Ham having a fantastic season, rather a brilliant season as I just said about 20 times, and they picked up some key points where it's been needed as well. And I think Sam Allardyce has done a brilliant job at West Ham in the time that he's been there. Swansea obviously got rid of Michael Laudrup earlier in this season. And I've now got Gary Monk. Gary Monk, he's done a decent job at Swansea, and it's nice knowing that he is their full-time manager for next season as well. So that's pretty decent. Swansea had a pretty decent season. Crystal Palace now, they're like the secondary talking point. Well, they obviously had Ian Holloway at the start of the season. He was sacked around about October. Then they had, I think it was October, round about that time, I think. And since then they've had Tony Pulis. Well, I mean, he obviously, he was at Stoke. He did fantastically well at Stoke, and but he came to Crystal Palace. He went to Crystal Palace and did a fantastic job. Getting them. I don't quite know how close they were to the relegation zone, but they were pretty close, I think. But I've been very impressed with his efforts, and for me, he did get manager of the season, and he thoroughly deserved it for the job he's done at Crystal Palace in the second half of the season, especially. Newcastle, Stoke, then again, they've had respectable seasons. Alan Pardew's obviously had a couple of issues with himself with headbutting David Myler of Hull, and do you know what? Newcastle, they could have finished lower, and that's a respectable mid-table position. Stoke, again, they had Mark Hughes from the beginning of the season, and he's done a phenomenal job at Stoke, getting them their first top half finish in the Premier League, which is a respectable achievement in itself. So I've been pretty impressed with Stoke as well, along with Southampton as well. Southampton with I think they had Mauricio Pochettino from the beginning, I think, and he's done a decent job as well. He had a little bit of a slump of results towards the end, but he's done a respectable job at Southampton as well, as they were fighting for European places after being, I think they got promoted to the Premier League at the start of last season, which is yet again a phenomenal achievement. Manchester United, we all know that they haven't had the best of seasons. We all knew that filling the boots of Sir Alex Ferguson, a fantastic manager by the way, was one massive job. And to be fair, when David Moyes was appointed, I did think he was going to do an okay job. But obviously it started well, winning the Community Shield. And against Wigan, and and again, that's the same with the situation with Norwich. He got sacked with 3-4 games remaining, of Ryan Giggs coming in after that for those remaining games. And you know what? I honestly think he could have stayed. That sacking could have been made at the end of the season. They could have waited 3 games, but that's football, and sometimes these decisions are wrong for all the wrong reasons, really. Tottenham, well, and obviously, and going back to Manchester United as well. Actually, they've also just recently got Louis van Gaal as their manager. Also, I think they're targeting Cesc Fabregas as well, which is quite interesting. Tottenham, they obviously sacked, Andre Villas-Boas left or got sacked by Tottenham. I don't know which one it was. Tim Sherwood, do you know what? He's done okay. He's done a decent job at Tottenham, and despite being sacked recently as well, I think he obviously had that moment where they went on a massive run of negative results. I think he had that moment, that speech that he said to the media, and you know what, directed it straight at the players. And I don't know what happened after that game, but I think it worked. To be fair, I don't know if it did or didn't, but I can't remember now. So top 5 then. Everton, a fantastic season with Roberto Martinez as their new manager after David Moyes moved to Manchester United. I mean, the main signing, to be fair, was getting Romelu Lukaku, Chelsea's Romelu Lukaku, on loan. I mean, you know, I'm a Chelsea fan, and I hope we keep hold of Romelu Lukaku. It's I don't know how likely it's going to be, but you know, it's, you know, he's done a fantastic job, and I'm a fan of Roberto Martinez, even with the job he did at Wigan last season, when guiding them to the FA Cup. You know, they're playing European football again, which is pretty good. I don't know if they were last season. I think they weren't, actually. But, you know, I'm a massive fan, and Roberto Martinez done a fantastic job at Everton, filling the boots of David Moyes, who was there for 11 years, 12 years, something like that. Arsenal, congratulations from them for winning the FA Cup and ending their 9-year drought of a trophy. Do you know what? Both they played very well against Hull, but then Hull played equally well. Just as good as them. As they went 2-0 up. And do you know what? I always thought, you know, I mean, some of my friends were Arsenal fans, and one of these days I honestly could see that he was going to get sacked at Arsenal, but do you know what? I don't think he is now. He's been there for 7 years, got some Champions League football for the 17th season running, and I think he'll stay. He'll probably sign a new deal. Chelsea, Jose Mourinho back in the hot seat. I honestly thought we were going to do Chelsea were going to have a pretty decent season. Obviously, he sold Juan Mata to United halfway in the January transfer window, and when we drew, I think it was when we lost to Chelsea lost to Aston Villa and Sunderland, where their title race was over, and the draw against Norwich as well. And I honestly could see it being a 3-horse race right to the final day, but it didn't happen because of those results. Liverpool, Manchester City, the title race was on right to the final day. I honestly thought it was going to be Liverpool's year. But you know what? Manchester City, Liverpool, Brendan Rodgers, he's brought them higher ambitions, got them into the Champions League for the first time in quite a long period of time, actually. And I've been impressed with both Liverpool and Manchester City this season. I mean, Manchester City, Manuel Pellegrini, what a manager he is. I mean, changing the philosophy of what Roberto Mancini did, you know. And I thought it would be Liverpool's year, but Manchester City came out on top, which means it's going to be Manchester City versus Arsenal at the start of next season in the Community Shield. So that really wraps up my review of the season, guys. I am up to my 15-minute limit pretty much now, nearly. All you're doing now is seeing highlights of this game, so I'm probably just going to skip it. Soon, what I will be doing is a sort of another review, but this time it's going to be on how... Oh, hello. I'll do the classic for a minute. And see how the teams that have been promoted do. So that's Leicester, Burnley, and I am going to wait for the playoffs to be over. So that's a video. I will record that video when we know what the third team that is going to be promoted alongside Burnley and Leicester. So you know, it's going to be interesting. But so that'll be a separate video. I am hoping there was another idea that I had as well, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, probably a World Cup video. I'll probably do a World Cup expectations video as well, probably on the World Cup demo game. I've got the demo for it. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video soon. See you later.